All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Megan Zardex here, back at it again to give you another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 19. And man, oh man, I got some good, interesting things to talk about. Might actually, rant a little bit from here and there though, with one of my major topics that I have for tonight though, and then pretty much everything else in between those. So a lot of good, interesting stuff. We're also just like right around the corner from having Halloween as well. So I'm kind of throwing in some of my little spooky elements here and there throughout the episode, though. So, just keep that in mind. And we got some really good stuff to talk about. And honestly, quite a bit of stuff within even just the pop culture segment alone. Like, I was going back and looking at all my stuff in my notes, and I was like, golly, like a lot has happened within the past couple of weeks or so, though. But before I get too far up into it, though, I did want to give some little quick little channel updates. I actually did manage to get myself a brand new monitor, so it kind of helped, run little streams a little easier, bigger display and all of that stuff, though. So I was like, okay, I'm really digging this stuff, and just slowly kind of doing some little upgrades here and there, though. And I'll go ahead and throw this out there, though, but you might want to keep your eyes out and open because as we're getting a little closer to the holiday season, Black Friday deals are starting to go up and stuff like that. In which case, I'll go ahead and talk about that a little later here in the show in just a bit, though. But you just might want to keep that in mind, though. Just I managed to happen to snag this monitor for a little cheaper thanks to Best Buy doing like a my Best Buy kind of deal thing or whatever, though. So just little things you might just want to keep in mind, though. But I just want to go ahead and just share that out to anybody that might be looking to upgrade some of their tech stuff they might actually have though. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into that pop culture segment. All right, so starting off, we did manage to get a brand new title for the Spider-Verse 2, essentially. And we didn't know exactly what to call it, so we just really called it Spider-Verse 2. But the actual new name for it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And then, the first one's called, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but Across the Spider-Verse, going from into to across. I mean, face value, it almost kind of sounds the same, sort of, kind of ish. It doesn't feel like it's gonna do anything super crazy from what we're kind of expecting on the lines of what's gonna happen, what happened in the first movie, or what's possibly happened in the second movie. We still only know that it's supposed to release sometime next year in the year of 2022. We don't have like an actual solid concrete release date though for it though, but at least we have a a movie title to sort of kind of go off of just to kind of whet our appetites just a little bit, but we honestly don't have too much more beyond that. So it's like, oh, okay. I was like, well, I guess throw a bone here or there or whatever, though. But I mean, that's kind of the closest that we have to, just kind of any concrete information, though. So I mean, just a very simple, straightforward, like that's pretty much it. Um, I really hope that this movie kind of does really well, like the first movie and stuff like that. And honestly, if they kind of keep the same kind of mojo going on from what they had with the first movie, moving on to the second movie, I still feel like this movie will have some decent success though. But it's still kind of early, kind of make those calls or whatever though. But here's hoping whenever it does come out, I'm probably gonna have a blast just going through it because Spider Man's like literally like my second. I would say my number two hero in terms of right after Iron Man in terms of like my Marvel superheroes though. So always interested to see what's kind of up with the different Spider-Mans that are out there basically in that multiverse or whatever though. But that's basically all there is to it for this topic though. But to stay on the trend of Marvel, that was some good news. Then we got to shift over to a little bit of some upsetting news because actually when we thought all the delays were done in the year of 2020, COVID and everything, pushed back the Marvel movies within the MCU several times over, it seems like we got some more delays coming up around the corner. No, not any delays for what will be for the rest of this year, thankfully, because we are expected to get Eternals in November, just like a couple of weeks from now. And yes, we're still gonna get the new Spider-Man movie that's gonna come out in December. That remains unchanged. However, for the slate of movies that will be coming in the year of 2022, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to drop out like late March. That got pushed back, and pretty much every movie that came after that literally got shifted over into the other movie spot. So basically, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is gonna fall over to that May slot, and then the movie after that gets shifted over and so forth. So it is a little bit unfortunate to see all the 2022 movies take, like, maybe they're trying to play a little bit of catch up on maybe one or maybe a couple of their projects with their movies with the post production, because I think a lot of the films have already kind of completed, or at least the first half of what will be 2022. I think most of them completed their filming, but it's probably just the post production of all of that. Maybe they just wanted a little extra time to make their movies crisp with all the CGI animations and all that kind of extra stuff that kind of goes involved in the post production process. So I'm thinking that's exactly what they're pretty much working on and what they needed a little extra time up on. So yeah, it is a little bit disappointing though. So basically, instead of March for Doctor Strange, it'll be kind of shifted over to May the 6th, and then Thor: Love and Thunder will move back to August 7th from a June date, and while Black Panther Wakanda Forever shifts from August to November 11th. So, yeah, basically everything just kind of gets shifted over though. And I think that might have kicked something out of the 2022 slot and it would have shifted it into 2023 as well though. So I think we might have gone from 4 movies that will be in 2022 down to, I think, what's going to be 3, if I'm not mistaken, or anything like that. But yeah, so that's pretty much the main meat and potatoes with that one little news story right there. I guess we just got to be a little more patient though. But however, we're right around the corner from having Hawkeye come out on Disney Plus, which that plans to drop out here in November, right around the holiday season though. So hopefully some of them Disney Plus shows kind of fill in the gap here and there. I don't think we have any solid concrete release dates. We just kind of have window frames for Disney Plus shows for the year of 2022. But hopefully that can kind of stock fill the gap, just to kind of feed our Marvel crave until we get some of those other big movies releases, because I know some crap is about to go down in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I could just feel it, like the whole entire multiverse thing that's sort of kind of going on, this theme for what is the beginning of this phase 4. I just have a feeling a lot of crap is about to go down in that movie, and it's gonna basically be some follow-ups to what is gonna happen in the Spider-Man movie. I just have a sinking suspicion right there, but that's just me though. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of all the Marvel news that I had for this pop culture segment, though. But moving from the yet to the yay with with the Spider Verse movie related stuff, to a little bit kind of sad with the Marvel MCU delays. We're gonna have to take it another step lower, and I try not to focus too much on the negative stuff, but I do have some very unfortunate news for y'all, because somebody that you might all be super familiar with if you're a fan of anime in general. I do have some upsetting news, because apparently on October 19th, Christopher Ayres unfortunately passed away, who many of us might know him as the English voice actor for Frieza, who, did a lot of stuff within the OG Dragon Ball Z, obviously the remaster with Dragon Ball Z Kai, and then also with his reappearances in some other movies, as well as most recently Dragon Ball Super, with that final tournament arc, him, having some of his last work done right there. And it is sad and shocking, and rest in peace, man, and thoughts and prayers to your family and everybody else that basically had any kind of form, bonds, or connections with you, man. Because, man, I can't say how thankful I am for Frieza, because I'm like, Frieza was like a very interesting villain for me at the time when I was watching Dragon Ball Z for the first time. It was in that time period where, when I was watching anime, I literally was watching Pokemon and Dragon Ball, and I literally thought of them as shows, and I really didn't think of them as animes. I just thought of them as really good shows. I was also watching other cartoons at the time or whatever though, but I always knew that they weren't considered cartoons, but I just knew there was something special with both those two series respectively though. And Frieza, man, oh man, like his voice was just very distinct. Like, it was nothing else that you really kind of heard from any other kind of voice actors with any other kind of roles in any other shows. And he just always stood out, like his laugh and just the way how he carried himself, and just on pure moments where he was just kind of like, his voice was just hitting on some kind of other level whenever he had those fights with Goku and stuff. Like, he just stood out as a villain. Like, when you think about antagonist villains in animes, shoot, like Frieza is one of the first ones to come to mind, along with a very other kind of like shonen animes and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, it just really sucks, man. And also, his work didn't just extend out to just the animes or some of the movies he was in. It also extended out to all those different adaptations that he had for the anime into video games. So like your Dragon Ball Budokais or Budokai Tenkaichi 2s or your Xenoverses or most recently Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I mean, there's a lot of different other games that he also had to do recordings for that too, and then put his voice up in there though. So he did some marvelous work throughout the years though, and he's gonna be much loved and much appreciated for all the work he's done. And just once again, just um, thoughts and prayers to your family and to your friends and the ones that were really close to you and stuff, as well as all the other voice actors that had the privilege to actually voice and sort of kind of work with him in the studios, whether they were just another voice actor or they were just a studio producer or the director, the voice direction and all of that, or whatever kind of role you had up within Funimation or any other people that you might have partnered with or other studios you partnered with. Uh, just thoughts and prayers out to all of y'all though. So yeah, a bit of unfortunate news, and I just want to say thank you for just being, just a good role in the time that I was like, well, I always wanted to watch something good, and it was just, you know, you really lived Frieza up, like, because it's always something like, a hero's a hero, but everybody loves a good villain, and he purely, felt that role, and I felt like that role for him was just greatly accomplished, though, and I just wanted just to say my thoughts on that, though, but. That's basically all I have to say on that news segment, though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below if you happen to be a big Dragon Ball fan, or maybe you heard some other works that he might have done for some other character roles or something like that. Just let me know down in the comment section down below though. But man, you're gonna be dearly missed. But let's move over to our very last pop culture segment news for today, and that being what I was teasing a little earlier in the show. That being that apparently it seems like more companies are jumping the gun early for their Black Friday deals. And apparently for Best Buy, and no, this didn't fall with the deal that I had with my monitor recently though. But if you happen to notice that they're actually opening up some of the Black Friday deals early. So you can technically go in there, buy something underneath that deal, and it will say Black Friday guarantee. And let's say if you bought a TV, a new TV or something like that, and you bought it for, let's say, $400. And for some reason it goes cheaper in the future, like right around Black Friday weekend, and drops down to 300, they will automatically refund you the difference of how much cheaper it managed to get back to your original payment method. So that is interesting. So you just wanted to kind of keep an eye on them because apparently they just like starting this Black Friday stuff earlier and earlier. I mean, shoot, just even with Christmas in general, like my work literally had like Christmas trees up, like early October, almost tail end of September. I was like, what the heck? Like people just always like to start this stuff earlier and earlier. Me personally, I think I'm probably be kind of looking around for a couple of electronic things here and there, and then obviously some good video game deals as well. Hoping for my PlayStation 5. I really do want to get Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, the Intergrade, the PS5 version for basically all of that. I kind of want to see if Sony is going to be willing to drop that, or or basically the retailers, and they're going to drop the prices on those so you don't have to pay quite 70 on that. Because ooh, paying $70 for a game, I'm like, oof. I'm like, and it's not a limited edition either, though. I just gotta say, oof. But anyway, I'm gonna have my eyes kind of set on that. Possibly try to get myself a new smartwatch and a few other things here and there for buy things for the family and whatnot though. So yeah, if you got any Black Friday shopping to do, you can actually probably start fairly early with this. And I think even Walmart's kind of getting ahead of the game on that. I think they have like their special Walmart Plus not subscription, but like group or whatever though. It's like Walmart Plus something. I don't know. Basically, if you're part of that group, you get some early access to Black Friday deals and stuff like that though. So it does seem like the retailers are sort of kind of getting ahead of the game though. And then once I really start finding out what is like some good electronic or especially good video game deals, I'll make follow ups to this little segment in future podcast episodes, just to kind of let y'all know exactly what to be out on the lookout for and some good deals here and there though. But that basically does it in terms of all the pop culture segment news that I have. So I mean, it's probably one of a fatter, meatier segment that I had in recent times with some good stuff. of course, with the sad stuff though, but news nonetheless though. But yeah, so that's basically all I have for y'all on that. So let's go ahead and move over to that gaming news. All right, so first off, I wanted to go ahead and talk about my overall impressions for Sora finally being in Smash Bros. Ultimate as the final DLC character. And man, oh man, I gotta say, he's fairly interesting. I will have to say that. Like, I feel like everything kind of rolls off of his neutral air because basically he's kind of like a combo king in a way. Because basically, like for example, when you use like a neutral air, you want to lead up and make sure you hit your up, you tap A a couple more times to kind of follow up into the other attacks and stuff like that, though. So it's sort of kind of mastering that. And the one thing I feel like if you're going to be a good Sora user, you got to know how to recover with the dude. Not just like the standard up B recovery, but like up B, and immediately when you want to use a side B, you could do it after the up B, but you have to do it like almost instantaneously after that. So it kind of keeps people on their toes. And the one thing that's interesting with Sora that it took kind of a while for me to sort of kind of figure out with him was the fact that when you use the sideways B, it seems like you were always honing in on the person. However, what I notice is if you hit side B once and then don't hit like the B button again, your special button or whatever you have it mapped to, if you don't hit it again, you can send a direction of where Sora goes freely with no restrictions. You can aim it at the person if you want, or you can shift it away or whatever. But the second that you hit side B and then you hit B again, then it'll auto target your opponent, whoever's closest to you, basically, and it will hit him 3 times in a row. So I was like, oh, okay. So basically, if you want to be real good with Sora, I feel like you wouldn't use the auto target unless you have a strong feeling that you're probably going to be able to nail the person or whatever, though. And I know that side B, especially if you target that against a player that happened to fall up real high up in the air, you can kind of kill people fairly easy with that. So I do kind of like that. I did manage to get some of my friends like that with some kills here and there though, but yeah, the one thing I feel like is kind of weird is his neutral special. Like the fire is okay, you can spam it. The thunder I think is the best version of his neutral special. Or however, with the freeze, I don't know. I'm not really digging that one too much. But what I've been seeing, what most people do is like to use the freeze, run forward a little bit, then like hit a up smash or something like that. Especially if you're fighting somebody on platforms, I feel like that's the best use of it. Or maybe if you catch someone trying to recover off the edge and you went out to pursue them and then you hit them with a freeze attack and then they just kind of fall straight down, maybe that's another good way how to kind of use this thing. But you have to kind of keep in mind which special is going to be up next. So if you really wanted to get back to a freeze or a thunder, you sort of kind of have to just kind of stand off to the side and just randomly use each one once to kind of get it going through the rotation. That's the one thing I don't like is like the rotation. I wish I could kind of like freely be able to select which one it is though. But I mean, kind of like like how Shulk, like if you hit B and you kind of twist the angle around, and then you get to choose the different Monado powers. It would have been nice or interesting if you're able to do that with Sora with his different magical powers, because he can always choose like that with the different magic moves you have access to. Like you're able to do that in the game. So I was like, oh, I wish you sort of kind of were able to do it in Smash Brothers itself though. Outside of that, I really do like all of the different alts that he has. And honestly, I've been primarily using like the Kingdom Hearts default alt. However, as I've been going through and playing the Kingdom Hearts series, like I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I basically watched Chain of Memories because I was not digging that battle system at all. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch all the story beat elements, and then now I'm on Kingdom Hearts 2, about getting close to 10 hours up in there. So I'm able to relate with his, baseline form, his Kingdom Hearts 2 form. The other one's like the Riverside one, basically the one that calls back to the Steamboat Willie kind of art style, whatever. I'm able to relate with that. So I'm able to relate with like a few different alts, and then obviously there's like the cool blue one, which I think is pretty neat. But man, for some oddball reason, when I was playing with it, I kept losing. I was like, you know what, I got to put that all aside or whatever, though. But yeah, so honestly, I really do like the alts as well. And that final smash, though, that final smash, ooh, that sucker be hitting because I was playing with some of my friends. The range on that thing or the hitbox on his final smash is crazy because if you're in the line of sight when he shoots out his keyblade and shoots out like that little small beam of light that connects to where the keyhole is at, if you get caught in anywhere in that direct path, you get shot into the keyhole. If you're in where the keyhole is basically going to appear at within that hitbox, you get pulled in. And then also there's like a little bit of like a hazy little, like ring around the keyhole where if you're caught like slightly outside the edge of it, you will get pulled back up in it. I feel like Sora's Final Smash is probably the easiest ones to kind of catch people up in. And gosh, like avoiding it sometimes has been kind of tricky for me to be honest though. But all the while, it's still been pretty fun to play those kind of matches. And if you're the one that's dishing out that keyhole and locking them up behind the door of darkness and then shutting, breaking down the door or whatever, though, it always felt really good whenever you were doing it, though. So honestly, overall, I really do like Sora. It's going to take a little bit more time for me to kind of get used to him and be able to kind of incorporate my kind of fight style up in him because I feel like he's very combo heavy. Also, I feel like you can get people over the edge pretty well, and I think the real good Sora players are going to find ways to kind of do a mid-air combo, cancel out of it, hit the ground, and then follow up the combo with a little bit more. Like those are going to be the good Sora players that you're going to find on the ones that are able to cancel out of moves to start up new combos and stuff like that. So yeah, this is something to kind of keep a mind out on, and it still sort of kind of feels surreal just having Sora finally be the very last character for Smash Brothers. I was like, golly, it just really does feel surreal to me at least. So I was like, oh man, kind of sad to finally see the end of Smash Brothers though. But here's hoping that whatever comes after Smash or whatever Sakurai does after this, it's something that he likes, he enjoys, and whatnot though. And I'm pretty sure everybody got his support no matter what he makes. Please, Sakurai, I ain't trying to say what you need to do next though. But man, a Kid Icarus game, a new Kid Icarus game, or just support or something. I don't know. This give me something Kid Icarus man related. I mean, that's what I really want to crave because I don't think anybody can make it like what you do. But oh man, I can still wish and dream, can I? But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on Sora though. But if you've been playing any Smash Bros. Ultimate using Sora as a DLC character, y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below what all do you think about that though. And that's pretty much all my thoughts on Sora though. So we'll go ahead and move over to the next topic because a little bit of unfortunate news. We did manage to get a delay for Advance Wars 1 plus 2 reboot camp. Because originally this game was supposed to come out, I believe, on December, I want to say December the 3rd, I think. Yeah, December 3rd was when it originally was supposed to be planned to come out. And now they decided to push it back to spring 2022 because Nintendo basically said that the game just needs a little more time to fine tune. But you'll be battling with Andy and his friends here soon. So thanks for your patience. So it's honestly kind of weird because usually Nintendo is pretty good with delays in terms of usually when we get a hardcore release date, like a month and a day with the year, they usually don't ever flip the script on it, or especially not whenever we're like a couple of months away from it, like what we're in October right now. The game would have came out in December, so a couple of months from now. Yeah, usually that never quite happens that often, but the fact that it's happening with this game is, a little interesting or whatever though, because normally, like I think about the most recent delays, one being, Metroid Prime 4 when we never quite got a year, but we just knew that it was in development. That makes sense delaying games like that. And then you look back at like Breath of the Wild, like they never gave us like a concrete year. So they, it's sort of kind of because well technically they never gave a year out for it. You can kind of tell it was just getting delayed until whenever it got fully ready. And then most recently, like Animal Crossing New Horizons, they just gave out like a season date. Like it was like, oh, it was planned for what was it, 2019, fall of 2019, I think they might have said, or something 2019, or might have kept it vague as 2019. When they give it years or seasons, those could possibly get delayed because Nintendo's pretty good about trying to avoid crunch or not like crunch the hard levels like some other third party companies and stuff like that though. But yeah, they're pretty good about it. If a game needs more extra time to polished, then they'll go ahead and do that. Or shoot, Nintendo's pretty good about even sitting on games for a very long period of time and relating to, and waiting to just the right moment to actually drop out those games. Like I'm pretty sure they got a Metroid Prime trilogy sitting in their vault that's ready to go, but because how long they have to delay Metroid Prime 4, I feel like that's the main reason why we hadn't even had that trilogy drop. But then again, there's rumors that maybe they're remastering the first game. I don't know at this point though, but they probably have something sitting back there just waiting to pull the trigger out though. But yeah, so it is interesting to have to see this game get pushed back into spring of 2022. But that just makes the 2022 lineup, that much more interesting because like 2022 right now, shoot, we have Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, the new 3D Kirby game. I mean, and the list kind of goes up, and then you got some other third party games like, Project Triangle Strategy and so forth. I'm like, yeah, the list for 2022 is starting to slowly stack up. I mean, throw in a Mario game here and there though. And shoot, 2022 could honestly be looking just as good as 2017 was looking whenever the Switch originally launched, and we almost had like a new Nintendo first party IP game that came out almost every single month, with the exception of like a couple of months in there from when the Switch launched, from like the year or that month of March all the way into the month of December though. I was like, it was a packed year. So 2022 might finally be that game. Oh, and then also there's like Pokemon Legends Arceus. I knew something else was sticking up in my mind, but I just couldn't think about it. That coming out early January. But yeah, I'm like, man, 2022 is gonna be a stacked, crazy year in itself, as what we already know, and who knows what else can also be announced in that year as well, though. So yeah, so a little bit of unfortunate news for people of the Advance Wars series, though, because honestly, if it was gonna drop in December, I felt like I might have potentially picked it up just to kind of see what it was like, because this was originally like a GBA game or whatever. It's still made by Intelligent Systems back in the day, but now that this remake version, or the reboot, should I say, is being made by Way Forward. So they, it seemed like, I guess Way Forward must have been talking to Nintendo, say, hey, we just need a little more extra time just to work on this, fine tuning it. And honestly, I was sort of kind of thinking about it. I was like, it kind of made sense why they kind of delayed it back, even if it wasn't just primarily for the sake of fine tuning. But this game was literally sandwiched. Number one, it was coming out on the same day as Big Brain Academy, which I was like, dang, Nintendo dropping two first party games on the same day. I felt like Advance Wars was still done better than Brain Academy, because I feel like more people might have gravitated towards that in comparison to the other one, would it be a learning game or whatever though. But not just that, but it was being sandwiched between Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl that came out 1 month prior to it, in front of it in November, and then also 1 month after it, it literally was gonna have Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I felt like a lot of eyes would have been shifted towards Pokemon instead of this. So maybe pushing it out into spring, which at that point I feel like it's either gonna come out March, April, or maybe early May. I feel like that might do a little bit better. Just give it a little space from the new 3D Kirby game, and it should be roughly fine. I'm thinking the game might come out in March if like Kirby comes out in April or something like that, or if Kirby came out in April, maybe this game comes out in May. I don't know. But yeah, so that's basically all I have to say or feel about the delay for Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. But y'all gotta let me know what all you think about that delay, and was this a game that you originally was going to pick up, or now you're just kind of playing the waiting game for it until it actually finally releases out? But y'all gotta let me know about it though. Now let's go ahead and move on to the final news topic that I have for today in terms of the gaming news. That being the big one, the one that literally lit the internet aflame, the one that made a lot of people scratch their heads when it originally revealed within a Animal Crossing Direct. That being the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Originally, this thing was revealed on a Friday, the same day as the Animal Crossing expansion, or the Animal Crossing Direct has happened. And I was like, oh, okay. I was certainly not expecting big news to come out on the Friday. I honestly forgot about the Animal Crossing stuff being having that direct on that day. Like I felt like I knew about it a little before then. And then it sort of kind of, dissipated from my mind. And I was like, oh shoot. And then it came back up, and a lot of people were like really happy, super excited for all of the stuff that happened within Animal Crossing, because it seems like, it was like a big 2.0 update. There's a lot of stuff that was going to be added into the game naturally, like the Brewster's coming back, and he's going to be positioned up, I believe, in the museum. on that like second floor, so you're able to kind of get that pigeon milk or whatever though. And then also like the other big catch was like they're adding like a big massive expansion of DLC where it's like the happy home designer stuff, but with incorporated with this where you're actually designing like restaurants or hotels or something like that on like an archipelago of islands and stuff. So it seems pretty cool, really interesting. I think most of the Animal Crossing fans, I know I have one friend that's a big Animal Crossing fan. He's super hyped on it though. Whenever he gets his hands on the DLC, I'm pretty sure he's gonna go to town on this mess though. But yeah, so it seems like for the Animal Crossing fans, this was a big win. But of course, they have to introduce some other new information because, with Animal Crossing, with it selling well over 30 plus million units, they felt the need of saying, you know what, we're gonna try to sweeten the deal just a little bit more because we know that Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack is coming. So hey, if you happen to be one of the people that get the expansion pack, you're gonna be able to have access to all the paid DLC for Animal Crossing New Horizons, which the DLC in itself costs $25. However, for the Switch Online expansion pack, it's gonna cost 50 whole bucks for just one person, or if you get the family pack, 80 whole bucks. That's legit like a 2 point something increase over the original Switch Online. Because the original base tier is $20 for a single person. And then get the expansion pack, it's $50. So it's like literally a $30 increase going from 20 to 50. In terms of the family memberships, 35 for the base, 80 for the family for the expansion pack. And I was like, what the actual heck? How in the world are you gonna increase the price by that much? Like we literally went absolutely crazy and bonkers going from the direct when this originally was announced and everybody was losing their crap out, like finally we're getting Switch or we're getting N64 games on the Switch. Mind you, also they managed to tag in the Genesis games, which honestly are already on a bunch of are on a bunch of different things right now. Like you have the Sega Genesis Ages collection or the Sega Genesis normal collection that's basically all on the cart or slash you can buy it digitally on the Switch right now. There's a lot of different ways that you can play those Sega games, but there are a few on there that are going to be on the service that aren't on those things. But most people are going crazy over the N64 games in general though. And I was like, man, how in the world are you going to charge this much for it? Because honestly, I was expecting a five most likely a $10, probably $15 increase. So instead of $20 for a single person, it would gone up to 35. That's what I was sort of kind of expecting. But to go up literally double the amount plus some, I was like, what the heck, Nintendo? But then again, if they keep this price up this high, I'm really hoping that they don't have to actually raise the price at all much after this. And I feel like hopefully they'll go through and they'll be able to add more stuff, more consoles, more games to where more people will feel like this is, more, worth their money a little bit more. Because honestly, when people were looking at this, I feel like I feel like the ratios were pretty split between people that were saying, I'm going to pretty much get this day one, or I'm going to wait, or I just don't feel like it's worth it at the time of, they basically announced all of this news. Because I actually managed to do a little poll on my Twitter account, and I was looking at this, I was like, and I feel like the percentages of what people said is almost pretty reflective of, what might happen with most people in general. So literally, I was looking at my poll, and like 27.3% of my people said that yes, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade. Another 27.3% said I'm gonna wait on more extra content to come to the service, and then 45.5% were saying no, it's not even worth it. So I feel like, half of people are saying, yes, I'm going to get it at some point. And then half of people are going to say, you know what, it's not worth it at all, period. And then even out of the half of people that says, I'm going to get it at some point, half of that number, roughly about 25%, are saying getting it day one. The other 25%, like I know my friend Bronto over here, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to get it day one, but I literally might wait a whole year and see what other games are added to the service. Because in terms of the games that are in this thing, we have, Mario Kart 64, we have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Star Fox 64, Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, Super Mario 64, Yoshi's Story, Sin and Punishment, and Win Back. Those are the all of the ones that we have originally that is going to drop out on launch, which is a grand total of 9 games. Not even like roughly 20-ish or 20 plus, like what we had with the NES games and the SNES games. So I know it's going to take like a little more legwork, especially when you got games like Mario Kart 64 and Star Fox 64, where you're getting like 4 different people that are able to basically play online multiplayer, which I feel like that is the greatest draw for most people. That's probably the reason why we have such a smaller lineup, and they probably needed to add a little extra substance to it. Hence, why we got the Animal Crossing DLC added up in there along with the Sega Genesis games. Though my only little complaint is I sort of kind of wish that Nintendo would kind of lay out a roadmap, basically explaining exactly what their plan is for the Switch Online expansion pack, and how many different games are we going to be expecting a month. Because should I remind y'all, with the NES and SNES stuff, we used to go, or not SNES, in the NES days when we just had the NES, we used to get updates on games every single month. We used to have new games that we used to expect. I think it was like right around 2 or 3 ish or something like that though. But that's honestly what we normally were expecting it. And then the SNES games, once they added that up into the system, they broke away from the monthly thing, and we got it like once every other 2 or 3 months, which was sort of kind of crazier or something like that, which was kind of upsetting though. Did have a comment here in the chat from Omar, and he was saying, is it coming out in 24 minutes for the Switch Online? It is actually getting kind of close to midnight Eastern time. However, I don't believe it's actually coming out, because I actually looked on Twitter and I actually saw like basically like the how like the Switch kind of goes through and does its server maintenance and whatever though. And I did find some server maintenance times. However, it doesn't seem like there's server maintenances for the online stuff and just the eShop in general. It's supposed to basically happen tomorrow evening. So we might go a good chunk of tomorrow with them not having anything up. Because think about it, they got to go back and revamp the Nintendo website in general, because that's how you do all your family accounts and linking up with the different accounts. You got to do it on the website side. Then you got to change out the eShop. Then you got to update and put in the new app for the N64 and the Genesis stuff, and make sure all the connections kind of going up on there though. If I know I have those times written down, or I had a link to them somewhere though. Once I have it, I'll probably go ahead and drop it in the chat in case of for anybody that kind of wants to know exactly what time that we might sort of kind of expect it though. But it's gonna be sometime tomorrow evening based on the times that I basically saw right off the bat though. But yeah, oh goodness. But yeah, I was like, man, I'm really. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to with the online service is me going through and playing Ocarina of Time, because that's going to be at a slightly higher resolution than what it originally was. And that was a game I actually own on the 3DS, but I actually never went through and actually played the whole game. Like I played Majora's Mask on the 3DS because I think I got it free through Nintendo with their Club Nintendo stuff back in the day. Club Nintendo used to be real good back in the day, to be honest, though. But Ocarina of Time was one of those ones I was like, I just really kind of want to play it on a big screen television. So I'm like, okay, now's the time I can finally do that. So I think that's the number one game I'm going to though. But with most of my friends, I'm probably gonna throw down a little bit on Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, and as well as Dr. Mario 64 for some of my puzzle fan enthusiast friends like out there like that though. So yeah, so a lot of good stuff to kind of expect. And then I got to go back on another bad road, because with this we are getting new controllers, that being the N64 controller as well as the Sega Genesis controller. And lo and behold, as always, good things that always happen to release out. This stuff sold out in minutes after they went up online. I was like, what the actual heck? Because I was not able to snag the N64 controller. I could have snagged the Genesis controller. That one was up for a few more hours. Or I think it was up for almost the majority of the day that this stuff went live on that Friday. But the N64 thing sold out really fast. And now I'm kind of in the waiting game. I know they're going to restock, because they said basically keep an eye out for later October in terms of them restocking it. So if you really want to get your hands on this, I highly recommend going on the Twitter, following Wario 6 or um golly, what was his name again? I think it was Wario 64, because I think he does a really good job at kind of keeping track of most things that drop out, and he'll give you a really good link for it though. But yeah, at Wario64. That's who to follow on Twitter. Turn on notifications, and you pretty much will see them the second they go up on Nintendo's website. They might actually get restocked tomorrow as well, though. But yeah, I honestly just want to get my hands on the N64 controller. I really wish that they actually had the other colors as well, because I was a big fan of the blue color. But obviously, they're just going with classic gray or whatever. I don't see myself getting the Sega Genesis controller. Maybe I would have gotten it if it was a 6 button one, which I think they're only dropping out in Japan as well. So I was like, ah, shoot. I was like, why, Nintendo? Why? But yeah, so that's most of the majority of the information that we know on the N64 online stuff. But also, those aren't just the only 9 games that we know that basically is coming, because there's a lot of other games that are coming as well that we're able to expect. And I'm trying to pull up that list here in front of me at the moment though. But we can expect games such as like Banjo Kazooie, Paper Mario, um man, those are like the two that I had off the top of my memory though. But I can probably pull up a list here real quick though. But quite a few different games I know some people are actually excited about, and there's some other things that with some games that are actually included within like the future release of some games to come. It kind of makes you scratch your head and wonder like, all right, how in the world is Nintendo basically going to handle this service moving forward though? And let me go ahead and pull this thing up here real quick. But yeah, because I was like, I know with the inclusion of Banjo Kazooie coming out to on the service, I really wasn't expecting rare games to actually be included in it, because that means they have to collaborate with Microsoft in order to get that game to come over here. Because I feel like for most of the N64 games that came out on that console, it was either the big ones were either Nintendo based, or they happen to be rare, rare games and whatnot though. So it was like, okay. I was like, so yeah, out of all of them, I was like, yeah, I was like, I was really digging some of that stuff. So I was like, okay. But yeah, so I was looking at it. Okay, so now I got the list up here in front of me though. Yeah, so we can expect games like Majora's Mask, Banjo Kazooie, Mario Golf, another type of Kirby game, Pokemon Snap might add, F-Zero X, and then Paper Mario. So yeah, we can expect all of those games coming out at a future release. We don't know exactly, the rate of when they're gonna drop those games, but hopefully it's a bit more consistent than what we have now. And then obviously they're still gonna keep continuing to drop NES and SNES games for those that are obviously a part of the expansion pack, but then also the people that decide not to upgrade, just to kind of keep them involved in the progress or in the process as well, though. So yeah, another big one for me is Banjo Kazooie, because Banjo Kazooie is a game that I kind of want to get my hands on, because with his inclusion in Smash, now I actually have a good decent way of being able to play his game, so I can get that representation covered in terms of the Smash roster though. So yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to as well though. But yeah, so honestly, some good stuff to sort of kind of expect from the service. Still pretty salty about the fact that, the pricing and the stuff that they're kind of offering. Like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more content that was being included up into this tier or whatever though. And the other big thing to talk about is the whole the DLC stuff, because then that sort of kind of gets your brain kind of scrambling like, are they just going to do DLC for just Animal Crossing, or does that basically open up the floodgates to other DLCs being included in the future, like whether it be new DLCs like Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 is a big online focus. Like after you go through and beat the single story player mode, most people kind of dive up in there and honestly just keep going through all the online matches. Like you probably won't catch a lot of people with like Splatoon 2 right now that don't have the online service, if they're somewhat active or they really did enjoy playing the game. And honestly, you basically go online after you're done with the single player stuff though. But do you do stuff like that? Does Breath of the Wild 2 come out with DLC in the future with another expansion pack, and they throw that up in there? So like we don't know if and when are they gonna do that with certain stuff. People might be thinking, well, what about adding like the Smash ballot up in there, like for the DLC wave 1 and 2? But I feel like with that, you have so many other different licensing stuff with the other third party companies, so maybe that will stay out of here though. Or maybe they might throw in some of the older DLCs like Legends of the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Like that's DLC I don't have any remote interest in purchasing. But if they were to include it within the expansion pack, then hey, you'll get me to stick my cartridge back up in my Switch and actually go through and play through that DLC. So it's kind of like a rocky road. Like we don't know exactly what all they're going to be able to do with the service, and or like did they add? Hopefully, they they find a way to kind of add more stuff to it before a whole another year goes, and then they might try to add Game Boy. Hopefully, like sometime halfway in between, they manage to actually stick in another console or something like that, though. Whether it be Nintendo, like the Game Boy, or you try to stick with Sega or something like that. Maybe throw the Saturn on there, throw the Dreamcast on there, and I feel like you're gonna get a lot more signups up on there, though. And then also thinking back on the whole thing with third party support and stuff, if they manage to get Banjo Kazooie up on there, does that mean we can get Diddy Kong Racing? Or should I dare say GoldenEye? Because I feel like if you drop GoldenEye up on this service, people are going to say $50. Oh, take my money because shoot, GoldenEye is just that big, and with all the logistics behind all the copyright stuff and all of that between Nintendo, Microsoft, and a couple of other movie studios and stuff like that. I mean, shoot, that would be a dream come true to play that also online with other friends. Like, oh shoot, that would be a lot of fun though. But I think that's pretty much all the thoughts. As long as I'm not forgetting something, basically in terms of all my thoughts on the N64 expansion pack or Switch Online expansion pack with the inclusion of N64 games along with the Sega Genesis games, along with that weird but yet odd DLC for Animal Crossing New Horizons. So yeah, so that's basically all the thoughts I have on that, and that pretty much does it in terms of all the different gaming news that I had here up on my list. And so I'll go ahead and flip it over to my next little topic for my podcast, that being so about that show. And unfortunately, I still do not have a jazzy music transition thing if you're listening or watching this on YouTube yet. I just got to sit down and just take the time out just to do it like with some of my other ones, though. But yeah, in terms of some of the stuff I've been watching, I mean, with it being kind of close to Halloween and, being in the fall mood and whatever, though, I actually took the time out to sit down with my family, actually watch like The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Oh, man. Man, that's just a classic right there. You can honestly just kind of put that on, just kind of listen to it in the background though. But in terms of some other stuff I've been watching, just recently, I felt like I watched some kind of movie here recently, but I hadn't. Hmm. I felt like I thought I felt like I thought I watched something fairly good recently, but then again, I guess it sort of kind of slipped from my mind. But oh yeah, I did watch that new Fast and Furious movie from a while back that released sometime in the summertime. I did manage to go to watch that. It was a fun little watch. Can't remember if I said that in the last podcast or not. I think I might have. But in terms of some other stuff, I've been going through and watching some more anime, of course, from Funimation and whatnot. Though, I will say, I will say that there's some good ones that they have up on here. Like for example, just kind of going through some of my query that I have right now, man, it will let me log back up into my mess. I was like, man, normally it's already there at the very top of at the top of the website, but obviously it wanted me to log back up in there though. But yeah, lately I've been going through and watching like The World Ends with You, the animation. I've been kind of digging most of the episodes that have been releasing for it so far. It's been kind of nice to go through and kind of relive those moments that happen in the game, but in anime form right there. I've been having a pretty good blast with that though. And I already gave my praises to Zombieland Saga, I believe, last time. But if you hadn't tried it, I highly recommend it. Even though it's about a group of idols and stuff, which ain't particularly my kind of tea. The fact that they're zombies and stuff like that, it could sort of kind of set the mood for what is the sort of kind of spooky season. So I mean, like if you're looking for something interesting and something kind of off the wall that ain't your typical normal, I do highly recommend that. And another one I wanted to kind of go through and highlight that's fairly new, at least for me watching it, is The Detective Is Already Dead. Like if you like the sort of kind of mystery, sort of kind of it's not fully like based on murder or something like that, but just mystery in general and kind of figuring out cases and stuff like that. I highly recommend that one. I've been having a pretty good blast with that. I have a new episode that just came out for the dub today. That I'm probably gonna watch sometime after I'm done. Done going through this podcast and whatnot though. Like I've been really enjoying that as well though. But that's just a few of the animes I've been watching though. And hopefully here soon, because I think within the next week or so, this upcoming Friday is the release of the new My Hero Academia movie, that being World Heroes Mission. And I do try to plan on actually going out to go and watch that at my theater. I've just been patiently waiting just to see when the tickets are actually going live, so that way I can go ahead and make a pre-order for it. But it seems like my theaters, or at least my local ones, the couple that are around me, don't like to put up ticket stuff until like Tuesday of the week of, or something that could release like on the Friday or Saturday or something like that. So yeah, so that is my plan. I'm gonna try to go out and watch it, and obviously, if I do manage to watch it, I'll do some kind of a review. I don't know if it's gonna be like its own individual video thing, because if I were actively reviewing My Hero Academia, because I kind of stopped halfway, because like the gap between me reviewing it to the gap of where the episodes were at least currently with the dub, it just got so wide. I just ultimately just kind of stopped. I don't know if I ever will just go back and just kind of do a retrospective reviews on the episodes, go back and rewatch them and review them or something like that. But I will nonetheless try to get my thoughts out on it, even if it's in podcast form, either in the what you've been watching segment or early within the pop culture segment. It'll be one of the two though, but hopefully I'll watch it. I'll come back within a couple weeks from now and kind of give you my thoughts of what I thought about the movie though. But yeah, that's basically all I've been watching, or slash some things I do plan on anticipating watching here though. But yeah, that basically does it for this segment though. But y'all gotta let me know, as always, down in the comment section down below, or at me on Twitter or something like that, if you happen to be watching this on Google, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Some shows that you've been watching, and some ones that you've been recommending. I know I've been hearing some people, including one of my friends, saying that you must go and watch what is it, Squid Games on Netflix. It's like a Korean based show where essentially it almost like has like a flair of Hunger Games or something like that. Like you're playing like these child basically like nursery games or whatever though, like Ring Around the Rosie or Red Light Green Light. I think Red Light Green Light is like the first episode or something, and essentially it's like they're trying to play for money but also trying to survive at the same time. I know I heard a good chunk of people talking about that, so I might have to try that one out. If I happen to try it out or whatever though, I'll probably get my impressions on it in some kind of podcast here in the future though. But yeah, so that's just some things I've been thinking about or whatever though. But let me know, as always, some recommendations. If you got any good ones, just always just let me know though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for our what you've been for the whole what I've been watching segment though. So now let's go ahead and jump straight up into what you've been playing. All right, so in terms of the games I've been most recently playing, I've been playing a good amount of Kingdom Hearts 2 here lately. Like I feel like that's probably primarily the main game I've been playing. Obviously, with a little bit of Smash once Sora's been included though. But that's like the main bread and butter I think I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, is just playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And man, oh man, Kingdom Hearts 2 is a massive upgrade in comparison to Kingdom Hearts. Like I never was a big fan of the gummy ship levels though, but at least the gummy ship levels in this one, within the sequel, at least you don't have to do backtracking where you're forced to kind of go through all of that stuff. Let alone it's a lot faster, or faster pace, more upbeat and stuff. Like you're able to kind of zip around the thing real quick. Like all of that. Ooh, I definitely like the dual wielding blades that you're able to do as like some of your um basically like forms that make you super powerful, but it's like a limit break. Like essentially, like, you can only use it for like so long or whatever. Those kind of moments feel real good. I just feel like the overall controls, the maneuverability, just some of the story beats, because you basically have a base set of two other games prior, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, that led into Kingdom Hearts 2. The story beats are clicking a lot harder, especially at the very beginning of the game. And then you kind of get into the Disney stuff where they sort of kind of trickle feed you some of the main story throughout all those different Disney worlds right now, and the worlds are just a little bit better, a little bit more expanded upon. Like I just recently finished like the Hercules world, and then you got to see like the underworld stuff that basically wasn't there present in the first game. I just felt like Kingdom Hearts did a lot of stuff. I can see why people like this game so much, because even now, for a game that was that old within the PS2 era, obviously got remastered, or remade, I guess leaning closer to remaster, on the PS4, that game still holds up incredibly well. even now. So I was like, I was having a very good fun little blast going through and playing through that though. But that's primarily, for the most part, what I've been basically playing. Not too much that I've been playing on Switch outside of Smash. And I actually picked up a little bit of Splatoon 2 here recently, playing with one of my friends as well on that though. But yeah, those are some of my biggest focuses, along with Luigi's Mansion that I've been playing on the GameCube, streaming that once a week, which I got a couple of more streams I need to basically do before Halloween kind of comes around the corner, so that way I can go ahead and finish that game and then kind of set myself up basically starting November onward and move over to my next series after that though. So hopefully by the time I have my next podcast up, that'll probably be the podcast where I announce what new game I'll be playing next, so you can kind of look forward to it on that though. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the what y'all been playing segment though. And now let's go ahead and move over to the final segment, that being community questions. All right, and in terms of community questions, it didn't seem like I actually had hardly any that having to come in this week though. However, I did do a poll with it being Halloween and stuff like that. I did have to throw out the statement, whether or not were you like a free candy kind of person, or were you more of a chocolate based kind of person? Because I mean, those are the main primary two. And me personally, I would say that I have to be a fruity person because, or the fruit kind of person, because I would say that Starburst and Skittles are some of my most favorite sort of kind of candies, because I eat those like out the bag, like I can eat a whole bunch. Now, if I catch myself drinking like Coke with it or something like that, honestly, I feel like my stomach kind of gets a little bit bloated or something. It's something about when you eat fruity candy plus like you had some extra sugar on top of it. I don't know, it's sort of kind of just like bloats your stomach up a little bit. But at least with the fruit candy, I can just kind of eat that nonstop. Meanwhile, with the chocolate candies, it's like I eat like a little bit and then I say, you know what, I'm good. I'm good. So maybe that's the reason why I like the fruit based kind of candies a little bit more though. But on my little poll, it did seem like more people were actually leaning on the side of chocolate based than fruit based. I don't know how. I mean, shoot, like Reese's, I can always throw down on some Reese's and stuff and Hershey chocolates and stuff like that. But outside of those two, I think those are like the main two I do. Occasionally, I do a little bit of a Twix here and there though. But outside of that, I don't do too much extra stuff though. But yeah, that's basically it in terms of like that the little candy stuff. If you're one of those people, and I have to go ahead and throw this out there, if you're one of those people that actually loves candy corn as one of your favorite candies during like this Halloween sort of kind of spooky season, I don't know what is wrong with you. Like you must have been deprived as a child. Because literally you can go into stores after Halloween, because every time after Halloween they like to mark down that candy by like 50% at Walmart. So people buy it up. Literally candy corn is like the last thing that's sitting there. And it usually kind of sits out for like almost a week. Like I have a coworker literally said like his favorite candy was candy corn, and he doesn't have to worry about it being bought up because it's like literally one of the last things that kind of sit there at the store. It'd be marked down for 50% for like the whole extra week that's after Halloween. Like I just don't like candy corn at all. Like that's literally probably like one of the worst type of candies that you can get. Like give me a pack of Nerds. I don't usually throw down on Nerds unless it's like in like a Sonic slushy or whatever though. But shoot, I'll eat a pack of Nerds over that. Shoot, I'll even eat a pack of Kit Kats. Like I don't even like Kit Kats that much anymore, because like that old saying, too much of good things, a bad thing. I used to throw down on it. Now I really don't like it. Shoot, I eat Kit Kats over that candy corn, man. I just can't deal with that candy corn like that. That's just kind of weird though. Uh, oh goodness, I had a comment from Tempest like, bruh, I need candy corn. No, you do not need no candy corn, bruh. I'm just saying. I'm like, no, candy corn is not that good. Like what like feed that mess to the horses. Like I don't care. Like candy corn is. I don't understand how people like that taste. It's such like a weird taste. I just don't know. I just don't know. I got to move on before I ran on about that anymore though. But yeah, that's basically it in terms of the community question stuff, and that's basically all I had in terms of what I all want to share in terms of like my pop culture segments, gaming news stuff, what I've been watching, community questions and what I've been playing basically for all of this week though. But as always, y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below what all did you think about all of these different topics. Did one kind of stand out to you? Like are you gonna be one of those people that actually upgrade to the Switch expansion pack? Because that is dropping out tomorrow. So I know some people are kind of scrambling whether or not they're gonna get family packs. I do advise that if you're gonna get if you're gonna get the Switch Online expansion pack, I highly recommend to kind of get with a group of friends and go ahead and try to bundle and get together. That way you can kind of drive the price down lower. Because I know I've been getting with a couple of my friends, so we're gonna roughly pay about maybe 26 something dollars between us three, maybe a little cheaper if we upgrade one of the accounts that we might already previously have existing though. But yeah, so honestly, do your research and stuff like that, and try to get it as dirt cheap as possible. Because I'm a pretty cheap person, to be honest, though. So yeah, so that's one thing to point out, though. And Tempest, you're saying it's just sugary goodness, though. But I just I had to agree to disagree on that. Sugary, yes. Goodness, I'll say no on that though. But I don't know. To each their own, and everybody got their own little flavor. Certain candies to like or whatever though. But I mean, it is what it is though. But no knock. If you like the candy corn, you like the candy corn. Me personally, I'll stick to my Starburst, Skittles, Hershey's chocolate, Reese's chocolate. I'll stick them. I'll stick to my core stuff right there though. But yeah, so honestly, that's gonna basically do it in terms of this ZardCast podcast episode 19. Just a quick little news thing before I officially go ahead and close it out though. I believe I'll do something on Halloween. I might do some kind of Halloween stream. Might be going through and playing some games like maybe some Super Mario Party, maybe some Luigi's Mansion 3, maybe a little bit of Smash, maybe a little bit of Mario Kart or something like that. Hopefully I might have some kind of stream set up for the day of Halloween whenever that day approaches though. But you can kind of keep an eye out on my Twitter to see exactly when that might actually go down though. So that's just a little bit of a heads up though. But that's gonna basically do it for this episode 19. So you really like this video, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related, pop culture related, and everything else I feel like talking and discussing though. And if you happen to be one of my viewers that are listening on Google, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, make sure to go ahead and just like or do what you got to do on that video, or do what you got to do on that podcast. Share it out to your friends. Let me know let them know who I am, what I talk about, and stuff like that. We have a good time over here on my channel. Do a lot of different cool little streams here and there, though. And I do have a few more things playing out for Halloween in terms of like a couple more different streams, though, that I have in the pipeline. Hopefully, I can get them out before Halloween comes and goes, though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for this podcast episode. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next. See y'all.